We got a Dynasty startup draft. Not with you guys. You guys are just spectating, but we are here in our Apollo League. And I'm going to start up the draft. I'm going to share the screen and we're going to jump right into it. Just to give everyone a heads up, it's a 12 team start 12. We're going for the first 12 rounds here. There's a third round reversal, of course. PPR, 0.1 point per carry and a 1.25 tight end premium. So tight ends are getting 2.25 per reception. So I'm going to start this bad boy up, share my screen. How you guys doing? Sunday afternoon.
Great. I have
Wonderful.
I have to clean the house before my wife gets home from Vegas.
She's on the freeway, I seen.
Yeah, she's probably about an hour and a half out. So I will be on for about probably 45 to an hour. And then go downstairs and bum rush it.
Yep, as we get pretty typical Allen, Daniels, and Jackson. And I was kind of thinking about this 104 and which way am I going to go and all of that. And originally he's like, you know what? I think I might go Chase. But I don't think I'm going to go Chase here, as crazy as it sounds. I think I'm going to go Jalen Hurts. And
you already broke your rule. You're not supposed to talk about the ranks that are still on the board.
I know. I do have a trade I need to check out.
Do you have the trade window situation like you did
before? No, only for rookie drafts. Ski, I see your trade. I don't think it's going to be enough for me, though, unfortunately. We can always talk. I'm going to go Jalen Hurts because of the third round reversal. If it wasn't third round reversal, I think I would think about Chase there. But I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts. Who would you guys have taken Hurts there? Would you have taken Chase or a player that has not been taken yet you would have potentially grabbed?
Yeah, I think it's between those two guys and a third guy, basically.
Yeah. I think you're muted there, Jeff.
Oh, yeah.
You were talking.
So, yep. I don't know, man. Chase is kind of a no-brainer. Hurts gets hurt once in a while, slightly.
Has he been hurt?
Yeah, I don't think it's been major, a week or two here or something like that. You always wonder, you get down to week 16, 17, 18, teams have clinched and, let's sit this guy. You're in the middle of your fantasy playoffs and the best guy's not playing, but
yeah. Again, the reason I did it is just more because of the third round reversal. It just the idea of quarterbacks going pretty quickly and stuff. So if you guys are in the league and you're watching along, which I'm sure a lot of you are, appreciate you all. This is our Apollo League. This is our third listener league. I know we just kind of jumped right into it. So this is our third listener league. Again, it's a 12-team start 12, so an incredibly deep league. Didn't get crazy trades like we did in other listener leagues, at least during the startup, which is okay. But actually no trades at all yet. But this is a 12-team start 12 PPR, 1.25 tight end premium, super flex, of course, 0.1 per carry. As Brian's disconnected there for a second. As we see Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Brock Bowers, Malik Neighbors, and Joe Burrow off the board here. Pretty standard for the most part, I would say. Emil, I see your comment there. When those players go, we can talk about it. If you guys do have questions, these are out there watching and you're not in this league or anything, you can go ahead and ask them. We're going to try and avoid questions where we have players that haven't been taken yet, just to not sway the picks a little bit. So we see Bijan Robinson off the board, and real quick, I'll share with you the WARP, the wins above replacement for this league here. As you can see it here, it's all really close. You see all these guys like the running backs. The first couple of running backs last year were better than the running backs were better than the wide receivers in this league last year, but doesn't necessarily mean it's going to play out that way this year. Warp is just it's not a predictive tool. It doesn't tell you necessarily who is going to finish better than who, but it's all kind of right there jumbled together. You see the quarterbacks and running backs are pretty close. The top tight ends are pretty close to the top wide receivers. So just wanted to share that really quickly. And
that's
Mike
different. That's kind of different.
Real quick, Mike is looking to trade the 112. I know we're on the clock here, but if anyone wants to shoot him a trade, got to do it quickly. Sorry, go ahead.
That looks kind of different from previous leagues we've seen.
Yeah, in one of our listener leagues, it's a half PPR, 0.1 per carry. The running backs are significantly better than the wide receivers. In this one, they're pretty close. They're consistent. They're consistently above them. Like RB12 is above wide receiver 12, but it's not like a huge difference necessarily. So as we see, Bijan and Gibbs, pretty standard first round here. I mean, for T-Zane to get Burrow at the 108 is pretty 109. Excuse me, is pretty nice. Pretty nice there, because I assume, Brian, that's who you were talking about at the 104 between Hurts, Burrow, and Chase for you.
Yeah, and you can even throw Jefferson in there too. Like, I think I still would go Chase over Jefferson. I mean, but those guys are basically back to back. I know, Mike, you've been talking about Jefferson a little more recently about like what his upside is and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting to see how much different things are kind of looking. He ran out of time.
Yeah, it must have been a Q. Q there.
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure to have your queues set up if you are looking to trade and stuff, because if you trade with 10 seconds left, that's all you have to make the pick. So, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, the first round, or it's really like the first two rounds, or like you'll probably see more or less at least 20 of the same guys go. Like, we did see, I think I took Burrow in our first listener league at the 103. So yeah, to get him at the 109, that's really good.
Yeah.
But it's hard to argue, like, especially across skill positions. Like, oh, this guy over this guy, that kind of thing. It's going to depend on how you build your team.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to make a video figure out a video about Dynasty startup trade values, because Maddie was asking me, and then we've talked about it before. Like, to me, it's the hardest thing in Dynasty is to know how to trade Dynasty startup picks and move back and acquire more picks, and is it worth it? And it's the hardest thing, So
yeah, and we definitely saw some of that in our other startups, and I think it was Rip Lips who basically called it like a good faith trade. I think it was him. But yeah, basically it's like, okay, I'm gonna move back. Like, this is the most common anyways. Like, you move back, in one round, and then you move back up in, basically more or less like the subsequent round. And then plus a little something on top, like whether that's moving up another round or two later, like depending on what it is. But yeah, like I offered a trade in our second startup to basically move off of the 103 back towards the end of the the second round, but what I was asking for was more or less like, okay, well then we're gonna pick swap in rounds 2 and 3, with the third round reversal to move that. That didn't end up happening, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think with the third round reversal, it's much more viable to see sorry, I don't have my extra screens up. My computer's acting all funky. That's why I got kicked out. But to see what MJ and Andrea, I don't know how to say it, is doing without kind of punching on quarterback a little bit, taking 2 solid skill position players, and then seeing what you get later as far as QB.
Yeah. By the way, I see people in the sleeper chat and people offering trades and that other people asking what you want. You probably don't have time to if someone offers it, it's just a little advice. You can do whatever, but you probably just have to send a trade, right? I don't know if you have time to negotiate too much. So and Mike, if you're listening, I think it's Mike. I always forget. I'm pretty sure it's Mike A here. But MJ, Andrea, or Jangia, you are an auto pick, so you want to make sure to remove that before your next pick here. So just wanted to.
Says he's online too.
Yeah, he's in here. Yeah, they're in here and stuff. So,
yeah, I think after you go 2 auto picks in a row, it'll just set you to that, right?
I thought it was just 1. If you don't, maybe it's 2 because it didn't do it for him before or something.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen it happen after 1 too, but maybe he did have a queue, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah,
we see CD Lamb and Amon Ra off the board. If anyone's watching and is not subscribed, is not in our Discord, all of that good stuff, obviously hit the like button, or everyone hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We've taken about a week off here, so we're going to start kicking back into gear. Discord is in the Discord link is in the chat as well. If you want to join our Discord, we're probably not going to do any more Dynasty startups this year. Most likely next year we will do a couple, maybe add a couple more. We'll also be doing some redraft leagues. If you guys also play redraft, we'll be doing a couple of those. First rookie off the board.
Yeah, I meant to ask you that earlier because I can't look through. I don't have a list of available players because we're not part of the draft. But yeah, I was going to ask if you just had the rookies included in here. I figured that was more simple because we already know where they are and we didn't do what we did before.
Yeah, if we do a startup before the NFL draft, we'll draft kickers in as placeholders for rookie picks. If we do it post NFL draft, we'll just add rookies in. So I think they both have their advantages and stuff, but I definitely don't want to be drafting rookies before they get landing spots and stuff like that. It could be fun to maybe do one like that, but
yeah,
I think call it, Brian, rookie love,
rookie fever.
Yeah, rookie fever.
Yeah, and you can see, with Genty going here basically mid-second, that's more or less where that 101 was getting drafted anyways. Mike, you took it around the 206 or the 207, whatever your pick was in our last one. And regarding start any more startup dynasties, I am willing to do a best ball dynasty startup if we get interest in that.
Yeah. I'm sure we have a lot of people that are already in leagues that would be down, but maybe I'll announce it. We'll see what happens. But Mr. Magic, our redraft guy, is here, and he said, we'll be doing those pretty soon. I'd say probably start doing those maybe once a week, starting now. I know it's a little early, but it's always fun to talk about them. So, I'll let you know, Mr. Magic. I know it's technically redraft that you're talking, but when Hampton goes in this draft, I'll let you know my thoughts just about the Hampton situation in general. So, But I went Drake May. I'm a huge Drake May guy. I mean, we've seen him. I think I saw him in our other listening league. I think he was a first round pick.
Yeah, he went like 108.
Yeah.
Think.
And then I think I took him in the other one. Maybe I can't remember. I think I was picking at the end, and I took him, or maybe I took Caleb. I can't remember. But yeah, they fell a little bit. So
look at Cam Ward is ahead of Baker and Purdy and
those guys haven't gone yet.
Just reading the list.
Yeah, I know. Just
not promoting anybody.
Mike, when you change you're only looking at QBs. Will you just go to the all, so I can just see everything normal?
Yes, indeed. But yeah, we're gonna go just 12 rounds today, and then we're gonna switch it over to a slow draft. So, but yeah, when
you got 5 seconds there.
Yep. Poll member auto picks will not be overturned. As Bo Nix is off the board, and then Justin Herbert. We got the first. Let's see what Maddie does here, but we got 3 of the first 4 teams having back-to-back quarterbacks. Yeah. And then Drake London off the board here. Anything crazy in those first 2 rounds for you guys, or anything not crazy, but didn't expect maybe?
I mean, there's still look at the skill position players that are in the ADP list. That is kind of interesting. I mean, you're going to see that when you have 4 teams that went back-to-back quarterback.
Yeah, 10 QBs.
What's that?
10 QBs in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, so that's not unusual. Sometimes it's a little bit more than that, I would say. And now you're kind of in an interesting position, everybody, where it's do you just keep capitalizing on some of these skill position guys? But it's a little scary when you got 6 teams that don't have a single quarterback, because quarterbacks are extremely hard to acquire in Dynasty, and there's already 10 gone. So
yeah,
ooh, big balls, Andrea. I'm just gonna call you Jandria. I like that. And maybe your name is actually Andrea, and then
we can call that. I'm pretty sure it's Mike. I always have a hard time with matching everyone's names, but I'm pretty sure it's Mike. Here, as we see Marvin Harrison off the board. What's interesting about Bo Nix? It's Mike. You put in the sleeper chat. So I think I asked you guys this before, and I asked our Discord. Do we consider Bo Nix a rushing quarterback, or do we consider him a guy that can give you a nice game?
What's the threshold on that?
I think 400
yards. Well, I guess it's kind of what I'm asking, and what's your opinion, I guess, about that? Do you want 25 yards a game, 30 yards a game to consider it a rushing quarterback? I mean, 25 a game is 425 in a season. So you see Achan, we see a lot of those teams that don't have a quarterback are not taking it. Well, the first 3 of this round, anyways.
Yeah, so I didn't watch a lot of Denver last year to really see a lot of it was more scrambles or designed runs. I'd imagine it was a little more scrambling, but you kind of never really know. He did kind of hit, if I'm remembering this correctly, he started running quite a bit in the middle of the season, not as much at the beginning or the end. I could have that a little wrong. I don't have extra screens to actually pull up stats or anything. Everything.
So he had 7 games of less than 10 yards rushing. So 7 of his.
What was his rushing?
He ran for 430 yards, but he had it his first 3 games. His rushing touchdowns were 4. His first 3 games, he had 3 really good games running the ball, and then his 3 in the middle of the season, and then 4 at the end.
Okay.
It was very it was not consistent. It was consistent kind of in that he had stretches of games,
Yeah.
but it was all like beginning, middle, end, like a chunk. So
So I'd say to answer your ultimate question is, I guess, no. And, whatever you get out of them is a bonus.
30 seconds 20 seconds on the clock.
Yeah.
I would consider that more of a scrambler too, because I think what makes a rushing quarterback, like what is a better like sign of that is like that consistent floor. Like obviously not everyone's going to do it every game, but the design runs are a big part of it. But also, like, I don't think you can just look at it strictly by the end product, right? Like you kind of have to like see how is he getting these yards? Did he break off one big run? Like he's broken coverage kind of a thing. Like, yeah, but I mean, obviously, like, so yeah, I'm trying to think like where would I actually put the number? Like it's
92, 5.5 rush attempts per game. I think the fact that he had 7 with under 10, like I guess when I have Bo Nix, I'm not banking on. Man, there's some value. A little. Oh no, never mind. He went. I thought Herbert was still there. I guess I'm not banking on. You know what? I don't know if I have a Travis Hunter share, and I'm taking one now. I guess I'm not banking on like, oh, I'm getting 4 or 5 points every game from Bo Nix on the ground. It's like I could, but I'm not like that's not how I'm drafting him, I guess, and thinking each game.
Right.
So
I mean, similar to Dak when he was still moving around a bit more. Russ, once upon a time, we even saw it from Herbert and Lawrence a little bit in spurts. But you're not drafting those guys as even think about Mahomes. I don't know, probably like 3 years ago. Like you can kind of pencil him in for 300 yards like over the course of a season. But that's not that. Yeah, I agree. Like that's just a bonus. Like that's not. And maybe 250 is a more realistic number. Like I said, I can't look up stats, but
yeah. Ooh, Bucky off the board. I was like, man, am I going to get another Bucky share? I was like, I seem to be getting him a lot, but I would have probably taken him if he came back to me. Meaning, I'm probably higher on Bucky than a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. A lot of those teams didn't take quarterbacks.
Yeah,
here.
I mean, especially those first 3 in the round, like because they have to go through the other 3 teams twice. So yeah, that makes it a lot more risky for sure. But
yeah,
I mean, when you look at the build, I'm just gonna call it Caesar CB7 C87. I don't know. My screen is tiny. I tried hooking up my actual laptop, and it wasn't working with all the extra screen. So I just busted out the work laptop, and now that's not working with the extra screen. So
yeah,
this is what I get for not preparing. But anyways, it's small. But I mean, the build of Bijan, St. Brown, and Achane, like that's really, really solid, But it could get pretty shaky here as far as QBs.
He says,
yeah.
He says he has a strategy. He promises. So yeah,
I trust you.
We all have strategy. Yeah. We all have strategies until you get punched in the face, right?
Yeah. I think like it'll be interesting to see how much trading actually happens like over the course of the season in all the leagues, because some of them we saw quite a bit, but yeah, it's a little tricky, to acquire, tight end premium definitely like makes those guys really hard to trade for. Super flex makes the QBs hard to trade for. Like you're going to have to kind of overpay because their warp is probably more than what you're expecting, especially if you're just trading for draft picks, which are, obviously not very reliable, especially if you don't know what pick that is, like in the font, like
Yeah.
you're picking for next year's or whatever. A lot of things change like over the course of just a few weeks, surrounding the NFL draft and everything.
Yeah, we got guys on boats with pink bags of cocaine and stuff.
We don't know. There's a substance, just a pink substance. We can't say what it was or not. We're legally not allowed. No, I don't know. But what's alleged, some kind of illegal stuff. I always draft what I think is value. I don't worry about starting lineups right now. I'm going to take another quarterback. I just think getting them to fall. I don't want to say anything yet, but anyways, I'm going to take a quarterback. It just a little bit, the value was too good, in my opinion, to let those guys fall. I'm still, maybe I'm crazy, but I'm still a little bit of a believer in Kyler. And just like even last year, like he was still like QB 12 or 13 in points per game, even though we considered it a bad year. So hopefully he can kind of get his that offense can get going. So
yeah, for sure. I don't mind that. I mean, Kyler, I'm trying to think where he went in our other two startups, but like definitely. Jesus Christ, hold on, I don't know if that's coming through, but the neighbor just fired up a weed whacker or something.
I don't hear anything, but yeah, it's one of those things where like he either goes around there or earlier, or like he falls a little bit, So it kind of just depends on. I think majority is a little bit out on Kyler, but it only takes one or two people to be in, like me, and
sure.
They would be in. Roma Dunze off the board. Laporta, I thought, was good value there in a tight end premium league. You were talking about Bowers and McBride, in the first round. Laporta in round 4, middle of round 4. I think it was a really nice pick. By Gorilla there.
Andrea, aka Mike, agrees.
Yes. Like how you can see like the chat, that little window. Big believer in Brees. Glad he made it to me. Yeah, for sure. I think Brees can be. Is anyone shocked that Brees is RB1 next year? I wouldn't be. Mr. Magic, you're still here. We can talk. I can't really talk about guys I'd necessarily take over him yet because I'm sure there's a decent amount of them that haven't gone. But I think we're going to be slightly disappointed in Omarion Hampton year 1. If you're taking him and thinking you're getting potential RB1 top 15 running back. Obviously he could be that with injuries and stuff like that, but I think it's more likely, to be honest, that it's like both him and Najee. I know Najee hasn't gone yet, but both him and Najee are like low end RB2s, and they kind of consume each other a little bit. Yeah, I kind of think about like what Javonte and Melvin Gordon were when Javonte's rookie year. That's kind of how I think about it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping, I almost feel the same way, but I think 10 touchdowns by Hampton would be the kicker. So that's
the other kicker is Jacob Dobbins could be back on this team. They tendered him. They gave him a tendered contract, and like if he doesn't sign by a certain date, like he's back on the Chargers. I don't know what date that was. Maybe I don't know. One of you can look that up or something, but you don't have to. But as Ski did get auto picked there, you can't reverse him. Just a heads up there. But I think it was a solid value pick there for a team that needs a QB anyways.
Can you hear the clock ticking?
I cannot.
No.
Oh, why is it doing it on mine?
I have it
on the draft board.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's coming through here.
Sometimes it like glitches, and maybe a refresh will.
You know what? I do have the actual draft board open. I forgot in another window that I couldn't see.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I muted it. So
yeah,
Ski,
I muted it. So.
Ski was tilting. He wanted Laporta, and he got taken right before him. And
I think he lucked out with getting Love as the auto pick. If he didn't take it, like I think think I probably would have made that same pick.
Ooh, Caesar. All these guys, they're kind of playing with each other on the ends there, I think. Not in a weird way, by the way. Just like, the playing chicken a little bit, like who's going to be the first to take the quarterback.
There's definitely basically 2.5 guys like I'd be comfortable with as my number one guy.
Yeah. And some people kind of view it, and we've talked about it a lot on this channel, like there's a giant bucket of quarterbacks. And if you feel that way as well, maybe you can kind of, take that advantage of that and wait, right? And say, you know what, I'll just wait until it starts getting to the bottom of that bucket or the end of the bucket, right? So all my tier 7 up through tier 7 is gone. Still have one more player in tier 8. Who went here? JJ McCarthy went. T. Higgins went, and
JT.
Baker. Baker Mayfield. So what is he in redraft? You said QB6.
Yeah, I think the CBS guy said he was either 6 or 7. Like I think his current ADP on CBS was QB6 ahead of Mahomes, which I obviously have an issue with that.
Yeah.
Not a huge issue, but it's like, no, I would definitely take Mahomes over him. And like I wouldn't be drafting him that high unless everyone's kind of low on QBs and like the first, 5 or 6 go like early-ish, and then you're picking QB7 in like round 8 or 9. Maybe not quite that late, 7 or 8, like
QB,
then I can understand it.
QB like 5 through 7 in redraft are like, I'm never gonna have those guys. The Mahomes is the Bakers, like, because you're gonna have to probably get them in the first like 5 rounds or something, 6 rounds, and I'm just gonna be out. If I'm taking a quarterback that high, I'm just gonna reach for or go for Allen or Daniels or Lamar or Hurts. George Kittle off the board.
Yeah, Purdy and Lawrence. I personally would have taken Purdy over Baker just because he just got the contract. We know he's good in that offense. He's attached to the Shanahan offense for the foreseeable future, so I like that, getting that set, not saying Baker was the wrong pick, but personally I would have went with Purdy.
Yeah, I think I'm fine with Baker over Purdy, but they're kind of in that same tier here. I'm curious how. Okay, Baker's 30. Okay, Baker should be signed up for another year or something. See Devontae Smith off the board.
Yeah, I think Mike just said 5 years. Like, yeah, that's his contract right now, but. Just say it's 3 years and then we'll see what happens. Like if he plays like garbage, which I don't think he will.
There you go. That's why he did it.
Yeah.
He has a bunch of Purdy shares.
I don't think it's a wrong move.
Yeah.
Ooh, Caesar, I like this.
Caesar's. I like it too. You gotta go for it sometimes. So, and you kind of like you bank on potentially people saying, I'm not gonna reach on quarterbacks, even though. Especially when they already have a couple. So, and a lot of people do draft more for like, no, I already have 2 quarterbacks. Why am I taking a third one in round 4, like what I did, right? And that's fine. That is totally fine. There's a guy falling for me, and I hope he gets back to me. Kyron was a nice pick there.
I know, yeah, Kyron in the early to mid 5th is great.
Yeah.
Everyone's going through the Kyron roller coaster right now, maybe. I don't know. I haven't heard anything specifically, but I feel like people are always like kind of a little up and down on him, and then he's going to score 12 touchdowns and be like the entire offense, on the ground for the Rams. So
I was going to say, is 12 a disappointment for Kyron at this point?
Yeah, I know, right? It might be.
He's at 31, 15, and 16. I mean, it'd still be really good, but
there seems to be a speculation that McVay can plug and play any running back and make them good or something. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Here's the thing. So they used the hell out of Cam Akers. Todd Gurley, right, when he was going through his prime.
Yeah.
And then they did the same with guys like Sony Michel had a stretch of like he played 90% of the snaps, to end a year. Cam Akers had that. Now Kyron. That's just kind of what the Rams do. Like they just like use the hell out of someone, and maybe they don't want to pay them, and maybe that's why people are a little bit afraid.
Yeah.
But
So there's no use saving anybody for, it's like you're the hot guy, you got the ball.
mm-hmm.
Kyron had didn't he win? His rookie year, he was injured, wasn't he?
Yeah, he missed most of it or all of it. One of the two.
It says he played in 10 games.
In his rookie year?
His rookie year, he just didn't do anything.
Oh, maybe that's
35 carries.
Yeah. Well, I know. Didn't he get hurt like doing special team stuff, or maybe I'm missing.
Maybe.
But
remember when he was supposed to be their punt returner last year?
Yeah,
that was like a thing, and he did actually in the first game return a couple punts, I think. So he wasn't lying, I guess. People were just like were freaking out about that. We see Tyler Warren off the board here. Is that the? Oh no, okay, that's the 5th tight end.
Yeah.
Still, the guy I was talking about is still falling. So we'll see if he gets to me. I guess I better have a backup plan. Better what?
You better not jinx yourself.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets taken, he gets taken. But I wonder if you guys take a guess on who you think it is. I mean, I know you can't really see the board too well, but
I can see it. I think I know who it is.
Well enough. Interesting.
I
don't know. I feel like I'm gonna say. Wait a second. Did he already go? Oh, he already went. Never mind. It was Ted McMillan. I thought Ted McMillan was still on the board. That's who I thought it was. Now I'm going to start tilting.
Yeah, he didn't even make it to you in the 4th round.
Yeah, I missed him marking off. And I was like, how is he still falling? Okay, so that's my tier 8. Man, I'm in a tough decision here. I'm in a tough freaking decision. Quinshon Judkins off the board. Man.
Yeah, I think it's so we're kind of around the point where you start deciding, in my eyes anyways, I'd say it's basically this round and the next. It could be earlier picks too, but where you really start deciding like the direction of your team. Like, are you going all in for it right now? Are you going to value younger guys earlier? Like just try and build like a solid core of young guys and then, see how the first 6 or 8 weeks go and then figure out where you actually stand in the league. It's so hard to determine every year after a startup. Like the first year after is always interesting to me because I think I've played out 5 dynasty leagues where like for at least a year, and it never goes the way you think it's going to.
I'm just going to follow my board and my rankings, and I'm not trying to QB hoard or anything, but like I just take value at what I consider as value at players and picks. And Penix to me was, my tier 10 is gone. He was in my tier 9. It's not ideal starting 4 quarterbacks, but again, still have a few months until I have to start my roster, and we'll see what happens. Like, I can embrace the QB horde. I know some people are very strongly against it in general and stuff like that, but it's just one of those things. Like, I just take the value. It's kind of worked out for me in one league. a QB hoard. I still have all the QBs I drafted, but now people kind of have to like overpay or whatever. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. What do you guys think of 4 quarterbacks in the first 5 rounds?
Go back to the all tab so I can see who else was still there and kind of get an idea. Because so in the startup, I think about value as well, and it's a little harder the way we did the last 2, where we're just taking rookie picks. Mm-hmm. Like it's not harder necessarily, but before the draft, where you're like, I don't know who this rookie pick's gonna be. Like you have an idea of like the early ones, and then especially like the further you get along in rookie picks, like it's like, okay, where am I taking this guy? And I try and think about it as far as like we saw Igbuka go, right? So and he's like basically like a late first, early second type of guy, like in what we've seen in rookie drafts so far. I've been through 4 of them, and that's basically where he goes every time. So it's like, would you trade that pick for a Michael Penix? Like yeah.
You asking me? Oh, just in general, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had Michael Penix around the 104, 105. Probably the 10, at least in terms of what I would want to get back from him. So yeah. Chris Olave off the board, Derrick Henry off the board. And
there's definitely where is he? Okay. There's definitely
Addison off the board.
Maybe I shouldn't say this until he gets picked. I'm not going to say his name regardless, but I don't want to like point anything out. But to be continued. There's actually a couple that I'm looking for them to make sure they didn't get picked. I don't have the ability to scroll.
Scroll down.
Oh wait, no, I can't see. No, yeah, it's okay. You don't have to do that. Like,
okay,
it's not going to help. I'm just looking through.
Might give it away anyways.
Yeah.
I hope this guy falls to me. We'll see. We will see. So what's your get? Well, actually, I'm going to wait until he goes off the board to really talk about him. So,
yeah. Should we talk about TJ Hawkinson again? Oh shit! Sorry, he's not off the board.
No, he's not off the board. We see Josh Jacobs go. I'm going to go ahead and.
I was talking about, by the way, but I don't know.
I'm going to go ahead and take.
Last week.
I'm going to go ahead and take. I don't have an RJ Harvey share. My team is probably. I mean, unless I can move these quarterbacks, I don't know. Checking here. No, I'm just like, I don't know if if I can't move the quarterbacks, I'm not competing this year, right?
Yeah, you want a 24-year-old running back?
25.
He's 25?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's 25. I mean, it does for running back.
Means nothing.
No, it means something for running backs.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, just think about it. When he's up for his first contract extension, he'll be 29 years old.
Yeah, but that's like 4 years.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, a lot of guys go into their second, like, to get their second contract, because that's what you really want for running backs. You want them to get that second contract, and their value really goes up.
Yeah, I can't play fantasy that way.
I think RJ Harvey. Oh no, he's 24. Sorry.
Okay. Well, yeah. I just think about it in terms of how are these guys going to be utilized over the course of their. I mean, obviously, it's impossible to like project more than 2 years. Honestly, it can be really hard to project a rookie in the first year. Like there's always guys that kind of break the mold a little bit.
Yeah, look at Najee Harris, had 4 1,000-yard seasons, and then his 5th year he's on a new team.
Yeah. I think Harvey's one of those players. Like people are already super excited about him, and he's probably one of the biggest. He's maybe the biggest riser in Dynasty rookie drafts, and he was going at the one. I don't think he really fell beyond like the 107, 108. He can easily move up rankings, and you can trade him for a lot if he just like if he does become the running back that Sean Payton. We've all been waiting for like a Sean Payton fantasy relevant running back in Denver because we know how good he was in New Orleans for it. So he has he could shoot up the board. McCaffrey was who I was debating, and I was thinking like, yeah, I mean, what's your guys' opinion on like if you think your team's not going to compete this year for whatever reason, do you just avoid all veterans like McCaffrey and Henry, or do you still kind of take them if they're at value
in a startup?
Yeah, like let's say you started four or five quarterbacks or something here, right? Like, and stuff like that. So like you thinking, okay,
hypothetically, or exactly what you did.
Hypothetically.
Yeah, no, I don't think I would have went with McCaffrey. I think it's great where he got taken. Like that's great value, you know, like him and Henry. Like I might have just leaned into both of those guys. Like
what about in a redraft?
Redraft,
you're always competing.
Yeah. Well, I meant it's no brainer taking those guys.
Oh, yeah, he's a first round. They're both potential first round picks.
Yeah,
McCaffrey and Henry.
First, early second.
I still would have been okay with it, even if I felt like my team's not going to compete. Because again, we can trade guys. So if I can get a haul for McCaffrey, if I'm taking him there, I think he is going to do well, right? And so then I should be able to get a decent haul for him.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, I mean, look at Killa Gorilla's team. You know, like he has basically the potential number one wide receiver. You know, we've seen Laporta being the number one tight end. Like, I'm not thinking he's going to do that again necessarily, but definitely within his wheelhouse, like not impossible. McCaffrey and Saquon could both be RB1, you know, like, so yeah, I dig the build. The Judkins thing kind of stands out, like, as far as like, I don't know if I would have made that pick at that position. Not because I don't like Judkins or anything like that, but it's just kind of like he's kind of the one that stands out, I guess is what I'm saying, as far as like what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
The move is, but
I'm just going to remind everyone this is a real money league, listener league, Dynasty startup. So real money involved with our listeners. This is our third one. If you want to get into a league with us, we don't know if we're going to be doing. Maybe we're going to be doing a Dynasty best ball startup. But if you want to have a chance to get into them, join our Discord. If you're not already in it, link I just put in the chat. And of course, hit the subscribe button and give us a like on the video. We are 95 days from NFL kickoff, so we are in double digits as we see James Cook and Kenneth Walker off the board here. Has Caesar taken a quarterback yet? No, he hasn't. Update, he has not. Kenneth Walker, where's he at on my list?
There's still a guy.
It's falling for you?
Yeah. There's definitely a guy that I'm waiting for him to get picked to kind of bring something up, but like, I don't know. I guess the more I look at it, it's kind of like, maybe it's not that crazy, but
maybe we got a fellow friend here who's taken his third quarterback, so I don't feel alone there. But he also did start his first three picks without a quarterback, so not a bad strategy there.
Yeah, I mean, between McCarthy and Ward, like, they're obviously question marks as far as like, are you going to be comfortable starting them as like your starter? You know, like, I think you definitely have time to figure that out, and I don't necessarily doubt that either one of them can be, a top 15 guy. But we just haven't seen anything yet, and like we know there's a lot of guys that can kind of fall into that category. So yeah, I think that getting the vet that was good last year in Goff was a smart move.
Got any worries about the Lions? Offense, maybe with the transition to a new offensive coordinator, which historically, when a veteran quarterback is within an OC for several years and they change, they do start off a little slower. Any worries there, or do you think it's going to be all systems go? You're muted if you're speaking.
I'm sorry. I was squeaking my chair. My chair was squeaking, so I muted it.
Noise.
No, historically, historically, that's been what's happened. It just seems like, we seen the Eagles a few years ago. They went to the Super Bowl. They lost in the Super Bowl, lost both their coordinators. They go into the next year and they look marvelous, and then they fall apart. Then they fired their coordinators. So I don't know. I gotta believe that, with St. Brown, with Laporta, with Gibbs, with Montgomery, with Goff, and I think in the offensive line, I think I can't see it falling apart that far.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I think like David Montgomery, double-digit touchdowns. I see Laporta going early, like here, and I'm not knocking it. Laporta didn't have a very good first half of the season, and it wasn't because of Laporta. It was just how he was used in the offense and stuff.
It's important to note that their current offensive coordinator was their offensive assistant under Ben Johnson for 1 year. So there is a little bit of continuity there.
Same thing on the defensive side, too. Got guys, coming up through the ranks or whatever. And I don't know. Coaches, so we'll see.
Did your guy go yet, Brian?
Sorry, I'm just like looking for... I kind of realized I can look up stats pretty easily using the other tab. Meaning I have the draft open, but I can't see available players. But that, sleeper is kind of a good way to look through guys, because you can just pull one up and search. And
I thought it might have been Dak.
Yeah, he's a Dak lover.
I like Dak too, and he gets the stack with Lamb, and I think it's a good pick, Dak there. We got our first quarterback by season, and it's Justin Fields, which is, if he plays the whole year, he's going to be a top 7 quarterback, most likely.
That's a great pick.
Yeah. Terry McLaurin off the board. Bubba, what's your team name again? With the colors, you're talking about, you like the your color order there. I'm curious. He's a Fields lover. Yeah, Fields is going to be awesome this year if he plays the whole year. Like I said, he's going to be top 7, potential top 5 or something. So
yeah,
I'm slightly worried. Do the Jets have all the pieces and parts on offense there? They got.
I mean, the Bears didn't really, and he was good with them for fantasy.
I just saw Tyler's comment. Maddie. Maddie. Oh, okay. He got to the color here. Yeah. Going in order. Yeah, we got a lot of hoarders. This is the Lifetime Network. Yeah. Yep, I'm hoarding. I'm doing a QB hoard. No, I just like I said, I always just play to the value. And if guys fall, I take them no matter what I have at the position. So
yeah.
And so the guy's still on the. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, we kind of talked about this last week, I think, talking about you don't especially in a startup, but you're not necessarily drafting to fill your roster right away. You know, like we kind of talked about the idea of that. And, you know, I mean, you're the only one who basically can't start all. Well, that's not necessarily true because we got another guy with 3 quarterbacks, but it's like, you know, Mr. Skinham, like he can start all those tight ends if he needs to, you know?
Yeah.
No, you're good, Tyler. Like,
yeah, no, you're all good. Yeah, this is a 1.25 tight end premium. So tight ends are getting 2.25 per reception, and we're playing in a start 12. So we got five normal flexes, 1 super flex, along with the positional starting lineup. So yeah, I mean, you can start 6 tight ends if you wanted to, but
they're all gonna score 1.25.
2.25 per reception.
2 point.
Well,
even
2.25 more than in any spot.
Yeah, okay. I think I've asked.
Yeah, as long as you have a tight end designation.
Yeah, so basically, I was waiting for Harvey and Caleb Johnson to go off the board, like, and just to kind of like bring them up, like relative to where they're being drafted. You know, like you mentioned, Harvey was getting drafted. Like I saw him basically go 107. It might have actually been exactly at 107, like in all the leagues, like where I'd done rookie so far. You know, and Caleb Johnson's right in that mix too. You know, so it's kind of interesting to see, like, and again, this is not like, oh, this is right or wrong or whatever, but you see Igbuka go almost a full round before Harvey and basically 1.5 rounds or a few more picks than that, almost a full 2 rounds before Caleb Johnson. You know, I don't think that's wrong. It's just kind of interesting to see in a startup, like, because obviously rookie drafts are completely different than a startup, you know. Like you do have a team already established, and here you're building one from the ground up. So
yeah,
you definitely have to take that into context, but it is kind of, you know, like, okay, what would I trade for? You know, like we see like Bryce Young go right after RJ Harvey or CMC. You know, it's like, so are those guys valued around the same 107-ish, 108? You know, I don't think you're getting that pick for McCaffrey. You should be able to get it for Bryce Young.
By the way, we have been live for an hour, so if you need to take off, let us know.
Yeah, I was looking at that. Bree did try and call me about half an hour ago, so I should probably call her back and jump off, but I don't know. I just wanted to bring that stuff up to you guys. Like, this happened.
Yeah, no, it is interesting.
Yeah, this kind of happened also, like, in our second startup, where I think I drafted Justin Fields at the beginning of the 8th round as my quarterback 3, I think. And so I was just thinking similarly to you, Mike, where it's like, okay, like if Fields is going to play, and there's no reason to think he's not going to play the entire season, like given the lack of competition and, you know, them paying him. Obviously injuries you can't predict, but the idea being like, okay, well, what would it take to trade to get Justin Fields like at this moment? You know, like it's like, we kind of talked about that last night, you know. It's like, yeah, something equivalent to 2 firsts, basically. Like 1 first ain't enough.
Yeah.
And
no, it's not.
Yeah.
For Fields, you're saying.
Yeah, for Fields specifically.
Yeah, unless you know it's like a top 5 pick or something guaranteed, which I don't know why that person would be trading for Fields, but like unless you know that for sure, you're banking like, you know, 70% chance it's going to happen, then yeah, if it's 1 first, it's not going to do it for me.
Yeah, exactly. And so just, you know, look at the other guys that are going off the board immediately right around here. You know, look at all the receivers that just went. Like, you're not getting 2 firsts for any of these guys, you know, like even going all the way back to probably, you know, T. Higgins, Roma Dunze back in round 4, you know. not saying it's impossible to like get these guys or get that for these guys, but I'm just saying like for the most part, you're not getting 2 firsts for, Flowers, Addison, Olave, JMO, Waddle. So yeah, just something to think about. Like as people do more startups and everything, I know a lot of these guys are at least seasoned vets.
Absolutely. If oh god,
what you want to Golden?
I was gonna take Golden, and now I'm in a little bit of a crossroads here.
No, it's called a spiral.
No, I'm not. Like I know who I should take. Damn.
Another quarterback. Who's in the all tab? I'm just curious.
Sorry. That's just if I follow my rankings, it's another quarterback. Damn. Who wants to trade? Do
it.
Yeah, I'm still a yeah, I mean guys are falling because I'm taking all these quarterbacks. I'm gonna
This is the spiral. You guys are seeing it live.
Taking Tua. Still yeah,
believe.
I mean, well, what's funny with Tua is like in points per game last year, he was like the QB 13. So yeah, I know people don't like he suffered the like if you wonder about Bryce Young and what his value could be, look at Tua, right? Because like kind of the same thing happened with Bryce Young and Tua, like bust their first year. Another quarterback in the draft class looked way better than them. But then Tua had a really awesome season, led the league in passing yards and blah, blah, blah. And so we started to value him a little bit more, but then how easy it is to just drop him down after 1 year of like a mediocre year. That's kind of like,
it was the concussions that really scared people. Yeah. So
yeah, so real quick, QB 15 points per game. If you remove Joe Milton and Jimmy Garoppolo, who played in 1 game, he was the QB 13 in points per game. So like, I think a lot of people would be surprised by that, to be honest. So
yeah, I thought you were going to take A-Rich. Honestly, if you were,
I thought about it.
Quarterback you were talking about.
I thought about it. I definitely did think about it, but I have A-Rich in a few other leagues. I have Tua as well, but it's like I've gambled enough with A-Rich. I feel like if he hits, I'm going to be happy. I don't want to go all in on him. Yeah, I was going to take Golden. Just because he was in that tier with Tua and someone else with me. So I was like, all right, easy Golden. I'm going to take him. So I'm a big Golden fan.
And he's another guy who kind of fits in that same group, that later group, anyways, with Ibuka, where they were kind of being valued right around the same sort of chunk in rookie drafts, and then you get him. I'm looking for Ibuka again. Basically, 3 full rounds later. So
yeah, people are down on Ibuka, and or Golden. Sorry, I kind of get it because it's like a Packers wide receiver, and I mentioned this as soon as he was drafted. Like he's going to have to do better than a lot of the other, better than Ibuka, significantly better than Burden. If they all have similar stats, Golden's going to be the lowest on that list because he's a Packers guy. So, and one of the reasons for this is not because like it gives me so much flexibility now. If Kyler Murray is awesome, I can trade him away and still be okay. If Michael Penix is good, even though him and Tua might have similar stats, people are going to value Penix more. I can trade away one of my top guys and just plug in Tua and not have a big fall off, So it's not only just about trading him; it's about the flexibility you get.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you taking off or are you staying?
Yeah, I'm gonna jump off.
All right. Appreciate you hopping on.
someone trade something. I don't know.
It's not,
No,
not gonna happen.
it's so hard when you only have a 2-minute clock. Like,
Yeah.
but
But anyways, appreciate you.
Yep.
And
I
see
will
you.
catch you guys on the next one.
Yep. See ya.
Bye.
All right. There's the two of us here. We only got a few more rounds going to the end of round 12 before we switch over to this.
I like Montgomery. I think I've said this a couple times. I think he's just double-digit touchdown guy. So,
do you think there's it feels like this is potentially the year where
dropping off?
Not that he necessarily drops off, but that so we've talked about this before. If the Lions offense is better when Gibbs is on the field, in my opinion. I know Montgomery has his role and he's good, and you can't put your running back out there 100% of the time. He's too, Gibbs is too valuable, but like their offense is better. So I just wonder if there is a little bit of a struggle with, the offense year one in the beginning. Like, does the offensive coordinator think, oh crap, like I need to, get my best players on the field or else I'm going to lose my job, blah, 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 stuff like that. So
it's a very distinct possibility. It's a great / lousy problem to have, as a team. You got two running backs, and obviously one guy is one guy's a home run hitter every time he touches the ball. The other guy's Mr. Consistent,
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Yeah, Mr. Magic asks, "Do we see Golden?" This is in redraft. Golden being better than Tet McMillan year one
in redraft.
In redraft, so year one, who do we see?
Don't.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I wouldn't rank it that way. So,
yeah. See, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I just see Tet maybe a little better. Golden, I don't know. We'll see how spectacular he can be. He's got to move some people out of the way there in Green Bay. So
yeah, it's not even that. It's also like he has to. Green Bay ran the ball a lot last year, and they might not go away from that. So I think they kind of want to run the ball a little bit. So if they don't increase the amount of passes they do, they're not. None of those guys are going to be that good, most likely. So Ricky Pearsall off the board, I think, is a nice pick. Yeah, Ricky won. I'm not a huge Jaden Higgins guy. I could definitely see him being good, but I wasn't really big on him pre-draft. So, but I wouldn't be surprised if he had a good year. You can see 5 other rookie wide receivers having better year than him year one. Yeah, in terms of better than Golden. Yeah, Travis Hunter, Tet McMillan. Depends on what you think about, Mecca Ibuka, Besh, Jaden Higgins, some of these other guys. So as we come to the last pick of round 8, as everyone but Caesar has Skinum. Skinum has only one quarterback too. So we still have 2 teams with only one QB, which is interesting. Kyle Williams, yep. Especially with the Diggs stuff happening.
Yeah, especially
We probably shouldn't have talked about that actually. It's not off the board.
Yeah. Why?
Because I don't like talking about guys that aren't off the board. I don't want to influence the draft. And if you want someone, someone's hoping someone falls. And
if you live in a cave, then you don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I know some people don't follow all that junk as close. So
yeah, we can talk about it when he gets picked. So we'll see what Andrea has here. Mike, I don't know why I keep saying Andrea. Ayuk. Man, people have soured on Ayuk, huh?
Yeah, slightly, boy, he looked like shit when he was playing last year. So You know,
You're
he
good, Ricky. No worries.
kind of pissed and moaning to a contract, and
Uh-huh.
you know, and he got it, and
Yeah.
did not look the same. I mean, the
No,
year
coming off
before,
yeah,
my
he
God, the
held
year
out, right?
before, yeah, he was wonderful.
Hmm.
Even in the NFC Championship game versus the Lions, so that I
Yeah.
remember.
You see Njoku off the board. Yeah, no worries, Ricky. That's not your fault at all. And yeah, also Maddie here also only has one QB, so there's 3 teams. I missed them at the end there. Started off with Allen and went from there. There's another guy that's falling that I really want to get. Well, I'm still far away, of course, but we'll see if it happens. We will see if it happens. Again, appreciate everyone watching. Got over consistently over 20 people, which is awesome. Make sure to hit the like button if you're watching afterwards. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. All that good stuff. We're gonna be kind of took a little bit of a week break. We're gonna be revving up. Mark Andrews is the guy. I think that's a great pick by Caesar. A lot of people have soured on Mark Andrews, man. He was still like tight end 5 last year, so led the tight ends and touchdowns and stuff. So.
Sounds like, yeah, I guess I can't talk about it. Another
Yeah.
tight end. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But yeah, Tyreek Hill is also an interesting value as well. Like, is he done, or can he put up a huge season again? Like,
I don't think he's done, but I don't know if he can do a huge season. And
I mean, getting him in the 9th round though, like, it's pretty damn good value. That's for sure.
Well, there's just some uneasiness about his situation. You know, the last game of the season, you know, he said, "I'm out of here in Miami." You know, then he was kind of making the Radio Row tour there in Super Bowl, saying, "No, I want, you know, I'm all in," and then, you know, it's like, yeah,
apparently
you know,
he was.
open
Yeah,
your mouth, and yeah, I like Devontae Adams.
Yeah, apparently he was like, I don't know if this is true or not, but like someone pranked him that he got traded, and he was like, "Oh, like hell yeah, we got traded," you know. Like, so I don't know if that's true or not.
I guess that pranking stuff has happened quite a bit.
Prank calls are back. Imagine your son cost you what his the coach lose like $250,000 or something.
250 or 100? No, I think he got 100,000.
I think it was 100. Still, like you make
yeah.
a $100,000 mistake. Yeah, wouldn't be happy. That's for sure.
When I was a kid, we did prank phone calls. So, you know, is your refrigerator running, or
yeah, before you could track it all.
A bowling alley for something. I don't know. Mike Hunt. That's what it was.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of those.
Oh, it's Mike me off.
Yeah.
His
Blecko
Jack, but anyway.
Blecko here, yeah, Kincaid in the 9th seems like good value. Yeah, it's interesting with Kincaid. I don't like the fact that he was worse last year. Now I know the injury stuff came out, which okay, it could be a thing, but like, man, he was worse than his rookie year with a better opportunity theoretically with like Diggs and Gabe Davis gone. Concerns me. That's what concerns me. But it's not a bad value, that's for sure. As we see Mike Evans, Cortland Sutton off the board. Man, are you guys gonna no? You guys gonna make me do it again? Again? No. Cam Scattaboo off the board. We got some rookies flying off. Which way do I go with this team? Feel like I'm not competing, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna just rule out
people
veterans
might want to come,
and stuff.
They might want to come shopping during the season.
Yeah, for sure. I heard Kyle Pitts news. I guess, and we'll talk about that when he goes, if he goes. I
heard from one of the fantasy gurus at Sports Illustrated say not too nice things, but
yeah. Still, I mean, the guy did have 1,000 yards. Anyway, we'll talk about it when he goes off.
Yeah.
Josh Downs is interesting to me because, like, if he has a quarterback that can pass the ball, I think Josh Downs can be really damn good. Really damn good. The problem is it's Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones. So, like, what's the situation there? Like, you look at Josh Downs and his numbers when Flacco was the quarterback. It was awesome, So, yeah, we could talk about that maybe in another show, or if any of them go there, Bubba. Does Evans fall off a bit this year? There's a good chance, right? I mean, the guy's 32 years old, right? I know it's 1,000 yards every year and stuff. I do think, isn't next year like the record? He tied the record last year, and this year is the record. I do think they'll make it a point.
Tied with Jerry Rice.
Yeah, so I think if he is healthy, there's no way he doesn't get that record. If he's healthy for most of the season. So, yeah, I think there's no way at all. So as we see another QB off the board by Matty, locks up Geno Smith, I think is a nice pick. A nice pick there. And Jaden Reed. Someone said that like Jaden Reed reminds them a little bit of like Stephon Diggs in Minnesota. Like he was like, the guy was good, but he was never like great. And if I remember correctly, like he wasn't playing as much. He was playing more than Jaden Reed does, but he wasn't playing maybe as like a full-time guy. Thought it was an interesting comparison a little bit.
Well, they had I think his breakout year, Stephon Diggs, was when, believe it or not, Case Keenum was the quarterback for the Vikings, and they took him and they won that wacky playoff game.
Miracle in the
where somebody
Minnesota or something.
Somebody blew the coverage really bad.
Yeah, it was against the Saints, right?
Yeah, Saints or Rams or what? Saints. Like the guy, really messed it up. And Diggs, he had a breakout year. That was Case Keenum was the quarterback. Then he started bitching about money, and Minnesota said, "You're out of here," and sent him to Buffalo. So
Williams off the board.
Jaden Reed, watched him a little bit in college, and he still seems to be the same guy. He's a playmaker. So, man, in college he was returning kicks and I think punts, and he was really good. But when he had the ball in his hand, it was something. There was something good was going to happen, and it just didn't. He doesn't seem to get that same exposure in Green Bay.
Yeah, it's yeah, I agree. It's just not playing enough, That's the problem. Just not playing enough. Man. Well, I'm gonna have to do it. It's Sam Darnold, another quarterback. Just playing my board. He's all the way up at my tier 12, and definitely. We'll see if I compete this year. It'll be fun to watch. I like building different teams too. I don't like it always the same and all of that. And then Jalen Milroe. That's interesting, right? Like Darnold goes, and then Milroe the next pick, whereas Milroe's the backup to Darnold. Yeah, like
I think Milroe's going to get a shot. I don't know.
You think this year he's going to get a shot?
Yeah, I don't know. The guy is pretty talented
Yeah.
as far as speed wise, and I always hate that. Oh, we're gonna put a package in for these guys, and that bullshit never works. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd have to say Darnold it'd get hurt, or I don't think he's ever been injury prone, Darnold, but um,
Hmm.
maybe the team starts stinking and Milrow gets a chance near the end of the year or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that would probably be what, besides an injury, that'd probably be what needs to happen there. So, um, yeah, Kyle Pitts did go, right? Kyle Pitts did go. Um, and someone made a good point and said the only year that he had like a good passing quarterback was his rookie year with Matt Ryan. He put up 1,000 yards, and then he has Desmond Ritter and who was it? Heineke was there or something.
Yeah.
Was it Heineke? Then the shell of Kirk Cousins, and then a couple games of Michael Penix at the end. Like the only time he's had a quarterback in a full year who was good was, and he put up 1,000 yards. So, Bubba says, yeah, go ahead.
No, and one of the problems in that 1,000-yard year was I think his red zone stuff, touchdowns. He might have
he hasn't.
Or
Yeah,
they couldn't get the ball to him in the red zone or something. I don't know.
His touchdowns have gone up by one every year. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. So next year will be 5. And yeah. So what's the plan if no one wants to trade for a quarterback? Yeah, that will be a little bit of an issue for sure. But I'm going to bank on someone. And again, like I know a lot of people think, okay, I locked up Hurts in May, and I'm trying to trade Tua and Darnold. My view is potentially I could move off of a Hurts, I could move off of a May, get a haul, and then still not be hurt with having guys like Tua and Darnold or Penix as my other QB. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it definitely could be a situation, but I'm going to bank on multiple people needing, at least 1 or 2 people needing a quarterback at some point, because injuries are going to happen. And we see there's only 3 other teams that have a third quarterback, and we still have one team with 1 quarterback, right? Like, so I'm gonna bank on it. We'll see. We will see. I always talk about this, and I always talk about this where it's like the QBs, the cheapest price you'll probably ever get a QB is in the startup. You're not going to get them much cheaper. Yeah, QB didn't bother Bowers, that's for sure. Go ahead. What?
Yeah, I've been in a dynasty league where I've needed quarterbacks, and it was pretty difficult, to make something happen. So I concur about the quarterback thing. Get your guys early,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, QB didn't bother Bowers. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, it certainly didn't.
It didn't at all.
Great point, Ricky.
Yeah. Tyler, not trying to be an ass. If I was in this league, I would be pitching to the league to not trade with you out of principle. Yeah, I mean, they could definitely do that. They could just say, no, we're not going to trade with you. Suffer. And I'll have to suffer. Yeah. And yeah, I always play my board no matter what. Like, I'm not starting a lineup right now. I'm not starting a lineup for several more months, So I'm not worrying about that for 3 more months. And so I just don't draft to fill up my lineup in Dynasty. And but yeah, no one could trade. I mean, I've definitely been in leagues where people just don't really trade. And if that happens, then I'm gonna be a little bit shit out of luck, So, and I'll have to go into a little bit of a rebuild mode, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I mean, you're definitely not going to say, I'm not going to trade with you at the at the expense of your own team, though. You know, why would you do that? Like, I'm not going to trade with you at the expense of your own team. Okay, sure. You know, like if you want to do that, like, okay, but then that's where it starts to be getting a little bit. I mean, ideally, if everyone's quarterbacks stay healthy and go as planned, like no one will probably, not many people will be trading with me. So, but we all know that's not really how football plays out. Someone will want the tush push on their team. Yeah. The tush push. And again, yeah, like I'm probably, if this team's gonna work out, it's going to be in a situation where I'm trading one of my top three guys, one of my top three quarterbacks, and not just, oh, I'm going to trade Tua or Darnold or Penix, because people aren't going to really value those guys. It's going to have to be in a situation where I get a potential haul for a Hurts, a May, or even Kyler if he comes around and plays like we think he should, you know? So we'll see what happens. It'll be fun to follow. Also, I'm playing a bunch of Dynasty leagues, and so I always like to do different builds and try different things. But, you know, I play in a league where I did a QB haul / people were trading me first-round picks during the startup and things like that. And I'd say this team, I basically didn't compete too much last year. Now this team, I have Patrick Mahomes, Bucky Irving, Ashton Genty, Malik Neighbors, JSN, Xavier Worthy, Evan Ingram, Tyler Warren, Travion Henderson, Kyler Murray, Drake May, Cam Ward, Bryce Young, Scattaboo, if you want to throw him in there. So I'd say that team's ready to compete this year. And I did a QB horde, and I traded. People were giving me first during the startup for players that I wasn't valuing as firsts, and I'd say it kind of worked out on that team, you know. Because it's a lot easier to find a running back to plug into your starting lineup than it is a QB. So that's why I'll always value the QBs a bit higher in the Superflex. As we are coming to the 11th round, we see Mason Taylor off the board, Trey Benson off the board. I like the Taylor pick. Jonnu off the board. What do we got here? Yeah, any who we were just talking about? Oh, we were talking about Bowers and Pitts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, it's also kind of how they're using Kyle Pitts, and maybe that's just on him and the type of player he is. But like, you know, you look at like his yards per reception and ADOT and stuff like that. Like he's used as like a deep threat almost. You know, like Brock Bowers yards per reception 10.7. His ADOT was 6.1, so his average depth of target 6.1. Kyle Pitts yards per reception in his career 13.5. His ADOT last year in his career is 11. So you're talking about 5. His average target is 5 more yards down the field. You know, you kind of want easier targets for him, but again, that could just be because that's who he is. I don't think Shuck was a reach necessarily, because like I had him as like right around like the Scattaboo, Jaden Higgins like tier of guys, you know. And so in the Dynasty rookie draft, and those guys went way earlier.
Scattaboo's going to be playing this year, or no, I'm sorry, Shuck is going to be starting and playing.
Probably, right?
Maybe not in the beginning, but who knows? It's going to happen. Scattaboo's going to get, he's going to get carries too.
My argument for Shuck was just always like, no matter what, you're probably going to be able to trade it. Whether he's good, I'm not even arguing he's going to be good or not. This is, by the way, I was having him as like a top 15 to 18 pick in the rookie draft before Derek Carr retired, and basically just saying, I think you're going to be able to trade the guy for more than what you drafted him as soon as before he even plays a professional game. If he's announced as the starter, you can probably trade him for more than wherever you took him in your rookie drafts in this late second or third round. So that was always my argument with Scatterboo. Shuck. I haven't shown the board in a while. I just trying to get everyone's team here. These are the players still on the board. I actually need to double check. Chris Godwin off the board. I was thinking about potentially taking Chris Godwin. I think all these guys are off my team or are gone already. I mean, any Pacers or Thunder fan out there? Thunder fans?
Two of you.
Thunder has a strong fan base. Both those teams have strong fan bases. Why are you hating on?
OKC plays good defense, so they got, of course, Indiana. They're not chumps either. Halliburton.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
The game last night was like a track meet, man.
Yeah.
The Knicks.
Isn't that kind of how the NBA is now?
Seems that way. There's not, it's definitely different. Run and gun, shooting threes.
Yeah. Just to go back to that team where I kind of did like a QB horde last year in the startup. Bucky Irving and Chase Brown were two guys that I drafted late to kind of like fill in as potential starters outside of the range of like considering them starters, and they both hit. So it really only takes for you to hit a couple of guys in order for all of it to work out. So I don't know where I want to go here. Where do I want to go here? I'm going to take some veteran value here. Hopefully guys that can start for me and or I trade. Shedeur Sanders off the board. Interesting. Is he going to start? Is he going to play? You've been hearing a lot of nice things about him.
Yeah, I got to wait till training camp. It's too bad. I was thinking the other day, Hard Knocks is going to be in Buffalo, and it's like, come on, there's nothing going on there. They know what the hell's going on. Man, if Hard Knocks would have been in Cleveland, that would have been.
Yeah. They would have
loved
been
like a friggin' reality show or something.
Yeah. It would have.
Kind of feel bad. I like their coach, man, Stefanski. I think the guy knows what's going on. It's just like, I don't know. There's like a friggin' rain cloud, thunderstorm hanging over their head all the time, and of course they were in the playoffs just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Versus Flacco. Why the hell they get rid of Baker Mayfield? I don't get that. I don't get, but
yeah, that's a little tough look there now. Isaiah says I took Burrow at the 104 and a 6 point for passing touchdown league. Bad idea. No, not a bad idea. I'm always going to value the rushing guys, even in 6 point for passing touchdown, but it's definitely he's in play there. I mean, he did fall a little bit. I was slightly surprised he fell a little bit, but I think at the 104 is where he starts coming into the conversation. So I don't think it was a bad idea or a bad pick at all whatsoever. As we come into the last round, Calvin Ridley off the board. I've been a big advocate for Calvin Ridley and just saying I think he's going to have a good year this year, and kind of compare him a little bit to Terry McLaurin last year, and everyone was down to McLaurin and basically saying, hey, this guy's going to get a quarterback. What if that quarterback's good? What if Cam Ward's good? Then Ridley is. Who else is there, man? You got Lockett and Treylon Burks. That's your 1, 2, 3 on the depth chart right now. So as we see Jalen Noel and Jacoby Myers off the board, I like both those picks for sure. I'm going to go ahead and take one of my favorite rookies here. And a guy that I think people are sleeping on a little bit just because of Quinshon Judkins being there, but it's Dylan Sampson. Still think he can get some work here. And at the end of this round, I will pause it. I'll switch it over to an 8-hour clock for the first 3-4 rounds, just so people get used to the slow clocks type of stuff. And then switch it over to a 4 hours per pick clock. There will be an overnight pause. I forget exactly what time the pause is, but it'll be roughly like, I don't know, 10, 11 Eastern to 10 or 9 Eastern or something. I don't know the exact times, but I'll double check that. As we come to the end here, we're going to be putting out some redraft content, which will be fun. So check out for that, or be on the lookout for that. We'll still be doing Dynasty content all year long, even during the season, but we'll do some redraft stuff. I'm curious how many Dynasty players, people watching in these leagues also play redraft, because I always assume it's just like everyone does, but I don't think that's necessarily true. Or have you Dynasty players just transitioned straight to Dynasty?
Yeah, I mean, don't you got to cut your teeth in redraft at first? It seems that way.
Yeah, I'm just curious how many people kind of like have given up the redraft just to play Dynasty. I know there's definitely people that do that, but I'm just wondering what percentage of people play both.
I like the mix. So
yeah, I do too. I like the mix of and it feels like you can like make up on some of your Dynasty mistakes during redraft season, and just say like, all right, yeah, I whiffed on this guy, I'm gonna get him on my redraft team.
I'll tell you, Dynasty has made me a couple of times think like, man, I can't move ahead, or I can't get rid of my garbage really easy, and but right around rookie draft time, it's like, yeah, okay, I'm fixed my problems.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And we'll probably go over each individual team. We're going to go live again, I think, Wednesday. We'll probably like review this draft and go over these teams that day and just talk about it as we get a little bit more picks being made and stuff. But Gorilla's team, he has Stroud, Dart, Richardson, Saquon, Judge. Yeah, we talked about this team. I mean, you got Jefferson, Barkley, and McCaffrey. You could have, the 3 of the top 5 fantasy players this year. Quinshon Judkins is a nice piece. You got Sutton and Debo. So you have a good mix of like veteran guys to compete, a couple young guys in Besh and Judkins, and as well as like Stroud and Laporta and stuff. So yeah, I think it's a really solid team. I'd probably like a little bit more certainty as my QB2 or /3, but if Anthony Richardson hits, I think it all is going to depend on Anthony Richardson. If he hits, I think this is going to be a contending team for sure. If he's kind of a bust and doesn't play, you might be hurting. You might be coming to me for a quarterback. Please come. Got to be both, Isaiah says. Yeah, I would think so, but there are, I think, a good percentage of people that only play Dynasty now. Between that and like best ball stuff, they get their fix or whatever. So But yeah, I really like both a lot. Right. They both have their positives. So we see Dallas Goddard off the board, Brenton Strange off the board. Yeah, Brenton Strange is an interesting one. Tight end one for the Jags. We'll see what that means. But could be pretty damn good. Could be pretty damn good. So we're coming to the end of the 12th round. And yeah, 95 days until the kickoff season. Days until the Hall of Fame game. We got 60 days, exactly 60 days, July 31st. And that means training camps are going to be starting earlier in July, right? So,
Yeah, like July. I think you got to be in training camp 10 days before.
well, don't the Hall of Fame game people start a little bit earlier too?
Yeah, well, yeah, they have to start
They have
training
to
camp sooner. Yeah,
Chargers, Lions.
Yeah.
So it will be a lot of fun. Who are the Hall of Fame inductees?
Antonio Gates is the only one I give a poop about.
Yeah. I think I'm the same here. I just don't know who else is going in. Zach Charbonnet off the board.
Top of my head.
Trying to pull it up. We got you got to do NFL because else you're going to get something. Okay, it's Jared Allen, Antonio Gates, Eric Allen, Sterling Sharp. Who's Eric Allen?
He was cornerback for the Raiders and Eagles. He was actually really good. I agree with him, and I don't know. Sterling Sharp, that's Shannon Sharp's brother. He got his career cut short because he had a neck injury, but he was a pretty good wide receiver. But
yeah, his start to his career was awesome until he got hurt.
Yeah, then his Hall of Fame. I don't know, Hall of Fame material. How about the Hall of Good?
He had 8,100 yards in 7 years, 65 touchdowns. I think people are coming around a little bit to like the length of your career isn't as important. Obviously, you need to have some length to it, but we saw that with like Megatron, Terrell Davis, and stuff.
Yeah,
yeah, he was awesome. I mean, you look at Sterling Sharp's. Yeah, he was. I mean, to end his last 3 years, he had quick math here, 42 touchdowns in 3 years. That's insane.
He was on Green Bay before Favre showed up, and he was really good then.
When Favre,
with
Favre, you mean?
No, I'm saying he was good before he was
Favre.
Good without Favre, and then Favre came, and they only played maybe a couple of years together, maybe 2 or 3 or something like that. And it made him good, but he was good. He was a big guy, for a wide receiver.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna pause it here. It's okay that you got it in. Just real quick, let me just change the draft settings to 8 hours. You guys can continue to make your picks. So feel free to continue to make your picks there.
But one's right. He was on par with Jerry Rice
during that time, yeah. But we're gonna finish up there, guys. We appreciate everyone.
Yeah, there you go, Makowski.
Yeah,
Don Makowski was the quarterback. Yeah.
But yeah, we will finish up there. We appreciate everyone as always. Join us. We're gonna get back on our schedule 2-3 times a week live. We'll be doing some Dynasty startup mocks, redraft mocks will be starting up. So, and we'll probably update this draft and see how it went. If you guys are still listening and watching, feel free to continue to make picks. We'll say, and I'll announce it in the sleeper chat, but by the end of round 16, we'll move to a 4-hour clock to speed it up a little bit. So appreciate you all, and we'll see you guys all in the next stream.